But obviously, a lot of people don't know you were a former basketball player. So talk to us about those early days.
Yeah, well, I was actually born into a life of basketball because my father played. So from the age of, since I can remember, I knew how to dribble a basketball. So I can't tell you the day I got taught how to dribble a basketball. I look at pictures of myself at 5 and I'm putting the ball between my legs and around my back at 5. So it's kind of one of those things where I'd go to my dad's games, but I'd always be playing basketball on the sideline. So it's kind of just an unconscious thing for me to be able to do. But over the years, my dad was still playing and he was teaching me how to play. And about 7 years old, that was when my club, Brixton Top Cats, they started their first ever kids team, which was under 12s. And I was playing, we were going to training every Wednesday. And it just became synonymous with my life as a routine that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you play basketball. Didn't know what it was going to be. We had loads of NBA, NCAA tapes at home. So I was always watching it, trying to mimic whoever I could feel like I could be like. To a lot of people, they think it was Michael Jordan, but to me, it was a lot of other players that I was looking up at the time. Larry Johnson was someone that I looked up to when I was younger. And I'm watching it now and then I'm playing, and then the years kind of sped up real quick because by the time I was like 9, that was when I'd realized I wasn't just good at basketball. I was probably the best in the country at my age at
Wow.
that point. And that was only because by accident I went to a basketball tournament with my dad to watch his team Brixton Top Cats playing a residential tournament in Hackney, and it was in East London. And what happened was one of the teams, the East London Royals, coached by the great Humph Long, he basically only had 6 players. He knew I played basketball, so he said to my dad, "Do you mind if my son?" Do you mind? He said, "Do you mind if your son plays with us? He doesn't have to play in the games. We just need another player." Like, and my dad said, "Hey, you can play him if you want. You won't be disappointed." And funniest story ever. Not only did we play this tournament, I end up averaging between 7 to 10 points a game against 19-year-olds. I'm 9 years old. So when you put it's crazy. But I look back at it now, I'm like, I'd love to see this on tape, but no one has it. No one had a video recorder. But we ended up playing Brixton Top Cats in the final. And my dad, it must mixed emotions is not the word. Like he's so proud, but at the same time, he's like, we're about to lose because my son played for that other team. I literally everything my dad taught me, I did in the game against my father. And he said, anybody who's right-handed, send them left. Kept on doing it. One of his players kept on, literally, the ball was coming off of his foot all the time. And because of that reason, I just kept playing. And I ended up shooting like 2 free throws at the end of the game with like a minute to go that put us up by 2. And then I got subbed out and we won the tournament. And that was when I was hooked. And from that point on, that was when I was on the England radar from growing up. So every year I was going to camps. I went to my first basketball camp when I was 13 in America, to the 5-star camp. Still, whilst playing for Brixton, we were like the #1 team in the country. And then it was us against London Towers, East London Royals. It was like we were all rivals. And we kind of at 13 actually, I tried out at Lilleshall for the England under-15s team, and I was the youngest player to make it in the tournament, because you do an all nations, as you know, an all nations tournament. So it's the best of London against the best of all parts of England to make the England squad. And at the time, you don't give yourself a pat on the back because you're just a kid. But like now I look back at it and I'm going, okay, so I was 13 and I was that good to be making an under 15s team, but at 13 in a 2 guard position. I wasn't very big. I was about 5'7", but because I could shoot, I was probably, I'd say, 75% from the 3-point line. Like, and that's not even exaggeration. Like, people knew, don't leave me open, because that was my thing. But I had a lot of basketball smarts and fundamentals because my dad and my coach Jimmy Rogers constantly was drilling fundamentals into me. But I also had a good read for the game. And then, like, go moving forward, like passing through time, like maybe a few years later, I got to about 16 and I was still playing for England, under 18, under 19s now. So like at 16, I was playing for the under 19. So I always was like way ahead of my age group. but I had some pitfalls which stopped me from playing. I had about three ankle injuries, fractures in my right ankle, two in my left. And I was constantly within a 2-year period, probably on crutches twice a year, 3 times a year, and having to recover all the time. So, and that happened for 3 years straight, but not realizing what that was doing, it was psychologically damaging my road to success. Because what it was doing, you got to remember, being an adolescent, people don't realize your brain's already all over the place anyway, about what you're going to do with your life. And people were telling me, oh, you can't play basketball anymore. What else can you do? And that was pretty much a reoccurring theme of what are you going to do if you don't have basketball? So I still paid no mind to it. And when I got to around 17, I was playing the best level basketball I could ever think to date. I was in shape, the best I was ever in shape. I was fast. I had my athleticism was better. I was playing on the men's team from the age of 14. I played my first men's game when I was 14 in Division 2, and I just got used to playing against better players. So I knew the only way to get better was to play against older players. But by the time I got to 17, I was at a level where I was an older player according to basketball. As you know, people like Kobe Bryant went to the NBA when he was 17. So at 17, I was nowhere near that level. So I knew in my mind, I got a lot of work to do because I'm nowhere near the NBA standard. And that year, when I got to my best, hit my knee, cartilage popped from my knee, couldn't play for 10 months. And you know, as an athlete yourself, James, you know, we know the pains of trying to be one thing and something that you're helpless to it. So I was helpless to that situation and became down. It really put me down. But at the same time, I'm quite an uplifting person. So I try to look at the positives and think, maybe my body needs a break. I'll try something else. So I started doing songwriting. My sister convinced me to start writing songs with her and started singing, really enjoying that process. It was a lot of fun going to studios all the time. And then, lo and behold, 10 months down the line, got my operation on my knee, came back and came back better than ever. Like, took me about 3-4 months to get back to where I was. Still, meantime, still doing recording music as well, finished studying. And I then went to America to a school. I went to visit some schools because I wanted to go to high school to finish out my last year so I could then go to college and be recruited and scouted, because I was scouted by 2 colleges in Buffalo, New York. One was called Canisius, which was a Division 3 school actually, but they had a 20,000 seater stadium. Like, their basketball program was out of this world, and that was from scouts that came to my games. And I just wanted to get to the point where I could go to school and get there. So I went to America, went to a few schools, and there was some transcript problems to where none of the schools were allowing me to attend because there was something wrong with my transcripts. So I had to come back to the UK. And when I got back, I was too late to join any colleges, universities, or any programs of education. So I had to get a job. So I ended up working a full-time job in JD Sports. So I was working like I think I was working 4 days a week, nearly 5 days a week. And I was like taking days off here and there. And I was playing basketball still, but I had a chip on my shoulder because I thought I had leaving parties. I was gone. I thought I was never coming back. That was it. America, this was the goal. This is where I wanted to be. And then all of a sudden it's finished. So got back, had that chip on my shoulder, played the best basketball, but then it happened again. The ankle went. And when that ankle went, the trigger just went off, and I just decided that I don't think this is for me anymore. And I literally turned my back on basketball. I have to say it like that because I look back at it and I'm a very all or nothing person. I can't be an athlete but not do what athletes need to do to be the best. So I thought, I'm not going to be one of those people that say, oh, I'm going to go to a scrimmage or I'll go play ball here and there. I'm like, no, if I'm playing ball, I'm playing ball. That's what I'm doing. And because that was taken away from me again, I just decided I can't give something loyalty that I'd given my whole life to at the time. Only 17. It's not a very long life, but it's long enough. It's all I know at the time. So I decided to just turn around and say, I'm not doing that anymore, but I'm going to help other people. Started coaching in High Barnet Bulldogs. I was coaching them for about, I think it was 1 season, and they literally couldn't even do a layup, like to even touch it. They couldn't do the basic fundamentals, but I got them to the point where I got them to a semi-final. And to other people, when they lost, they felt really sad. But to me, I'm like, you guys had never even played before, but I got you to a point of being able to do all the principles of basketball I learned. I got them to a point of being able to compete against good teams by making good teams make mistakes and give them the fundamentals to make them make mistakes. So, and then after that year, I just said, that's it. I'm doing music full time now. I got my passion for music. I knew music couldn't let me down.